All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Weather Center Live. Just as I mentioned yesterday, we're coming back onto the live stream to talk Hurricane Tammy, go over a lot of the updates that I saw not only on the satellite imagery, but in our overnight model data as well. There's definitely a lot I want to cover with you guys. We're probably still going to get a full Weather Center segment later today as well, hopefully if I have enough time to do that. But regardless, we're going to talk tropics, we're going to talk all the dynamics, the environmental situation out there, and also the different signs that I'm seeing with the storm right now that are very, very interesting. We'll give some folks a few minutes to join in, and we'll say hello to everybody in the chat. Will Dominica still get any tropical storm force weather? Not much rain has really happened. So, Gabby, excellent question. We'll go over to the satellite, not the satellite, excuse me. We'll go over to the radar as we get set up here. So this is what we're seeing right now this morning. The storm is finally moving north. It took a sudden sharp beeline to the north, and honestly, with it moving in its current trajectory, unless it hooks to the west all of a sudden, it could maybe miss all of our islands altogether. We're seeing that positive trend. If you look towards the very tail end of this radar loop, I know you lose sight of it. For some strange reason, the GIF kind of times out, but here's our center, and it starts here, and it's moving due north, and at the very end of the loop, it's parked right there. So if it continues to move in that general fashion like so, we might dodge a huge bullet out there for Antigua and Barbuda, especially those areas under the gun for the most substantial impacts with this system. In terms of Dominica as well as Martinique and even Guadeloupe, it looks like a lot of this stuff, a lot of the action is just to your east, including the wind field and all that. So we've seen some positive trends. It kind of did what we were hoping it would do last night. If you guys were on the live stream yesterday, I was saying, unless it goes straight up, this is going to be bad. And yeah, you could see right between here and then all of a sudden right there, almost a 90-degree turn like I ran into a dang force field. And now it's moving due north, scraping right up against the eastern side of all those Leeward Islands. I had my window open and I saw a bug. I thought I was flying in here for a second. But yeah, good morning, everybody. Fresh in from the gym. I got my protein shake right here. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. I did have a bit of a later start, I'll admit. I definitely got out of bed around, I think it was around like 5:30-ish, and I dawdled around a little bit around the house, taking care of business and looking at a lot of the updates, and that's why I want to make sure we get in here and start talking about this, because we're definitely not only going to fixate on Tammy. There's a few other things to include what's down the road for the Caribbean and Bermuda that we really want to start paying close attention to. Fable, what the heck? Nothing happened last night in Guadeloupe. I'm glad that it didn't. Yeah, no, it looks like a lot of the convection's still off to the right-hand side, but what's concerning is how much more organization we're starting to get out of this storm. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Let's get a few more people in here, and then we'll start digesting everything. Brooke, good morning. How are you guys doing, Brooke? How are you guys feeling after everything? Are you guys doing okay over there? Had some freak weather, wind gusts, and thunderstorm last night from about 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. Cookie Monster, you're in Trinidad? Yeah, so that's what we're going to get into. There's such substantial inflow and moisture along the tail end of this system that is incredible. It almost looks like there's two separate entities at this point, because we've seen Tammy's internal vortex, if you will, kind of delineate itself from the majority of the precip field. A very interesting change. Very interesting change. We have a much more compact storm, which I'm a little concerned could mean that we're going to start seeing more strengthening here very soon. Again, it's a matter of how you look at it. It's a matter of perspective. Let me move my camera over a little bit. It's a matter of perspective. If it does start to intensify, the wind field is going to expand. The precip and the rainfall with this may have a better chance of wrapping all the way around the center. But at the same time, the stronger this thing gets, it's definitely going to try to keep moving on this northward fashion. You can see that we have seen a little bit of a positive trend. It took a sudden 90-degree turn, and it's moving its way off to the north. And at this point, if it continues moving in that current trajectory, that current angle, it looks like only Antigua is really going to have a close graze from that center of circulation. Let me move over to the Barbados radar. Maybe we won't get that latency of it cutting out the way that it was. Here we go. So we were watching it last night. You could see it moving off to the west. I'll go ahead and draw my line through so you guys can see where the center's tracking. And then as it continues working its way to the west, we see that eye wall replacement, or that falling apart of the eye wall, happen. And then right there, suddenly starts moving due north. It's tracking almost due north at that point. So we're seeing a bit more of a northward and northeastward shift with it so far. If it keeps moving the way that it is, even Guadeloupe could see very minimal impacts from it, unless you get scraped by that outer eye wall band. I missed the beginning of the live, Gabby. Will Dominica still get weather? So, I mean, it's possible, but truthfully, at this point, you're getting along the back side of it, and you can see all this inflow working its way into that tail side on the southern apex of this system. So a lot of it now is mainly going to be wraparound feeder bands with it. So honestly, the likelihood of you seeing intermittent tropical storm conditions is still there, but just looking at the radar right now with the way it's moving up, it looks like you guys could definitely dodge this. In fact, it's already to the north of Martinique and Dominica at this point, which is very good. That's very good news. Guadeloupe is up next. We're going to have to see exactly how far to the west this thing shifts, or if it continues on almost like due north track right now. So we're like within hair's reach at this point of seeing the worst impacts, and it's riding along to the east of you guys. So very good stuff. Very good news. And it looks like the eye wall is getting ready to collapse once again at the very tail end of this radar. Either that or we're just getting so far away from the radar station that we can't see it too well. This is what I wanted to talk to you guys about, though. We'll switch over to the satellite imagery. So if I pause right here, a lot of this stuff down in here is still associated with the storm, but this is all inflow. It's kind of like a rear inflow quadrant with the south side of this system, pulling in a lot of that residual thunderstorm activity we saw over South America yesterday. The storm itself now is actually right in through here. It's very, very interesting what we're seeing. It's almost like the core of Tammy has broken off, and it's kind of consolidated itself into a very, very compact storm, almost the same size as if you guys remember Hurricane Charlie back in 2004. Very tiny storm, only half the size of the Florida Peninsula, to put it into perspective for you guys. So very cool phenomena, very cool phenomena. I'll use two different colors. You have all this banding going on through here just so you guys get a better representation of what's going on. Here's all your south side inflow drawing energy from all of our thunderstorm activity down in this region from yesterday, as well as just tapping into the very warm waters of the extreme western tropical Atlantic and the eastern Caribbean. But then I'll go ahead and highlight in yellow, the storm itself is now rotating in through here. It's become a very, very compact but fast-moving system, and that's why I'm a little nervous now that we will continue to see intensification with it, because we have full symmetry. It's a tiny storm, but it's definitely a lot more organized, but just a lot more compact, which is not necessarily a good thing in terms of its intensity. That means it could definitely start to intensify a little bit more now that we have it fully rotating around itself, and we have a very concise center of circulation. So really, really interesting, very interesting. And I've been seeing a lot of folks starting to mention that we're going to see a stall. I personally think that when this thing stalls, it's going to be somewhere just to the north of everybody, right in through here. I think we're still going to continue to see it move up. But once it gets up here and we lose that nor'easter and associated frontal system to its north and the trough digging in the upper levels, that's when we're going to suddenly see it stop. It's going to be weird. It's going to be very weird, and that's what's going to help me segue into my next subject of Bermuda. We have to start monitoring up there. Yesterday and the day before I mentioned it's kind of keeping an eye out. Now we definitely need to start watching, because overnight yesterday, Bermuda was suddenly slapped with a bullseye on their back. How close are we? It is a nice Saturday morning, honestly. It's very nice out there. Not too humid here in Florida anyways. Not too humid, not too hot, but, unfortunately, we've lost all that polar air. It's definitely modified out. Mike R., good morning. Nancy, good morning. It's quiet in my house with no game systems. I can only imagine, Brooke. But how are you guys doing all in all, though? Are you feeling okay? Are you still in positive spirits and all that, despite everything happening? Mike R. watching from Puerto Rico. Yes, very good. I'm glad you are. Gabby GG, I missed the beginning of the live. Will Dominica, I answered that already. Sorry, I'm kind of repeating myself. What's up with the storm that will head towards us after this that you saw the other day? Yes, Will, we're going to get into that. That's why I'm jumping in right now to start going live and talking about everything all at once, because there's no way I'll be able to compact all this into a single video later. So we'll switch back to the radar, and for those of you who are just joining us, we're at about 94 viewers right now. We did see a marked shift in the projected window of movement with it since last night. You can see it moving clearly off to we're starting to see it kind of jog to the west ever so slightly. As it stands right now, it looks like Guadeloupe is going to see the extreme western side of it. You might not get a whole lot of rain immediately. You may not see a whole lot of the wind field with it, but if it continues to try to jog westward, it's gonna be hard to tell. We're just gonna have to watch it at this point because it was moving almost due north for a while there, and we're starting to see as that eye wall caves in on itself once again. We're starting to slowly see a bit of that westward push right up in through this general area. Right in through here. It looks like it wants to try to move this way a little bit. Even then, though, unless we see a marked westward shift, it looks like from here up, we're going to dodge the most severe aspects of this system. So, good news. I'm very thankful for that. We have some good news in sight despite everything we've been prepping for. And a lot of the situation out there, this is why I had mentioned yesterday and the day before, this is going to be a very, very volatile situation, a highly evolving situation. You just need to kind of watch it closely. All right, let me finish getting set up here, and then we'll go ahead and start really digging into some of the tropical stuff that I want to talk about down the road. But yeah, right now, as it stands, if you guys are located in Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, the worst of this storm is well to your north. At this point, there's no way in heck, honestly, that even Dominica is going to see a direct hit from this. So we're dodging bullets out there. Very good stuff. Right now, we're watching out for Marie Gallant. We're also watching for Guadeloupe. There's still no saying that this thing can't move too far to the east and to the west and get closer to St. Kitts and Nevis. Antigua, we're still watching closely for you guys specifically. We've seen a bit more of a northward favoring with this storm. So it looks like right now as it stands, right now, I'm talking now, not looking at any, I haven't really looked at forecast models as of this morning. On and off throughout the night, I was up and down out of bed, and I was looking at 0Z data all the way up until the Euro came in, and we'll talk about that here in a second, but just looking at it right now live, it looks like we're getting closer to seeing a very, very close miss in Guadeloupe, as a matter of fact now. Let me switch back over to the other radar, see if we have updated information on it, or maybe we can actually see it. So yeah. Here we go. So here's Martinique, here's Dominica, here's Guadeloupe, and you can see that center is moving past you guys. And it actually looked like it picked up a little bit of forward progress, too. We miss it. We miss the center. I mean, we missed the radar data, but it slowed down, and then right there, look at that, moving north. Picked up a little bit of faster movement as well. So it looks like it's very safe to say at this point, Martinique and Dominica are going to miss a direct hit from this storm, and you won't even really see a whole lot of rainfall with it as of yet. You're going to have to wait until you get to the backside of this system. There it is, Phantom proper. The sun is out in all of its glory in Dominica. I love that for you guys. Yeah, dodging a big bullet right now. Very good news. Very good news. You can see it take a clear, it's very crazy how it did that too, almost like a 90-degree turn right there. A 90-degree angle. It was headed right towards Martinique, and then all of a sudden, bam, it like smacked up against some kind of invisible force field right there. So I guess all you guys out there in the Lesser Antilles have been doing enough prayer and it worked. It definitely worked. Watching from St. Kitts and Nevis, very good. Good stuff. You guys are not out of the woods yet. Good morning, Beverly. Are we expect any more African waves coming off Cookie Monster? As a matter of fact, there are 2 of them out there that I want to talk about here. While this radar hopefully gets its act together, let's go ahead and switch over to a large-scale view of the Atlantic, because that's exactly what I really want us to start focusing on this channel very soon. This right here puts it into perspective, guys. Let's zoom in. Let's get closer. Let's get closer. There we go. So this is what we have coming up next. We have some very aggressive tropical waves out there. In fact, the one upstream of Tammy right now almost makes Tammy look like a baby's toy. I mean, granted, I know that Tammy's a hurricane, but I mean, look at the size difference. With that reformation we've seen in the core of Tammy, it's like you could fit almost 5 Tammys in that one tropical wave, and that's what I'm concerned about. We're seeing a little bit of further consolidation with our wave highlighted by National Hurricane Center off the Central American coast, and here's our massive nor'easter system. Here's our deep trough that's helping to pull that thing up. And the problem is, with it moving as fast as it is and Tammy moving so slow, what's inevitably going to happen, and I'll switch colors so you guys can see, there's a big bona fide polar high spinning out over here, over central parts of CONUS, the eastern half of the United States, lower Great Lakes, over the Appalachians, supporting not only our huge baroclinic system, but this little instant occlusion moving through right here. There's like almost several different low vortices embedded within this trough. It's very cool. And what's going to happen is this is quickly vacating to the east. So as this high pressure nestles in across the western Atlantic, I'll switch color one more time so you guys don't get lost. This is in the future. This is probably in the next couple of days. We're going to have high pressure parked right here, and then we're going to have that high pressure coming down out of here, supported by this weak low system, and the high that's been steering Tammy right in through here, parked. And that's what's going to try to stop her from moving, because they're going to try to merge. You see the ridge really building up in the upper levels. We have ridging out here, and then ridging beginning to build over Mexico and Central America. That's helping to drive hurricane, I think soon to be tropical storm Norma, into the northern periphery of Mexico and Baja California. A lot of information. If you guys have questions, please tell me to shut up and ask the questions. I'll definitely answer you guys. But this is what we have going on out there. And I'm starting to get a little more nervous with these couple of waves coming in, because truthfully, Tammy might not hit you guys directly, but from the way it looks, if this wave continues to propagate to the west, you guys are definitely going to see higher chances of, once again, higher precip accumulation and potential flooding with that bad boy. And we're going to talk models here in a second, because there are definitely some indications we could see formation out of that as well. So if I have anybody out there watching Dominican Republic, Haiti, even the Bahamas, Cuba, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, I know a few Cayman Island folks always tune in for my live streams. As we get closer to the very tail end of this month, October 26th through the 31st, and even into the early portions of November, we got to start watching for you guys out there, Cayman Islands, Jamaica especially, because the Caribbean is going to start looking a bit more environmentally friendly for these waves to develop. And because it's still so hot out there, anything's possible. Good morning, my fellow Floridians. Brian, good morning. Good to see you in here, buddy. Good morning, watching from Antigua. Slight rain here and there at the moment. Neo King, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Faya Flava's watching from Antigua. Devil Charger, good morning. Good morning. Watching from Antigua, good morning. Having some rain and thunder in Barbados now. Yeah, you guys are on the backside of it, well into the backside of it, Pauline. So that's going to be very intermittent. You're going to have scattered showers and storms working its way through there, especially with that big pocket of leftover convection that's still firing along the southern half of the system. Can you show us the Korean model? Yes, I will in a second. Any updates for the Virgin Islands? So, Stefan, Virgin Islands, you guys are looking pretty favorable right now. If this system continues to remain as tiny as it is, as compact of a storm, and continues to move at about the north-northwest, if not almost to the north, you guys are going to dodge it altogether. We got to keep watching as it gets closer, though, because it looks like Guadeloupe is getting closer and closer to missing a direct hit as well. And then from there on in, it's going to be an Antigua-Barbuda game of playing around, waiting to see what this thing decides to do. Let's refresh. All right, let's go back to the radar so we can get up close and personal. We have Martinique right here. We have Dominica. We have Guadeloupe right here. Then we have Barbuda, Antigua, St. Kitts, Nevis, all through in this general area. Montserrat right in there. We can't forget about you guys. We can check the boxes, and even down here for what I think that's, yeah, this is St. Lucia. And then we have St. Vincent and the Grenadines down further to the south. You here, you here, you here, and you here, where I have my check marks. You're missing the eye. You're missing the center. You're not going to see a direct hit from this storm, which is very good news. We're waiting to see exactly whether or not this thing decides to shift more on a westward path and head towards Guadeloupe, and as well as Barbuda, Antigua, Montserrat. It kind of looks like it's trying to. We're going to need to get more radar data in, but it definitely looks like I'm seeing a bit of a slight hook to the west. So we're going north from here, and then, yeah, at the last second, it kind of bumps west. So we'll have to see if that's just a little wobble or if it's going to continue to track that way. Antigua and Barbuda are not out of the woods yet. So from the north, Dominica and south, you guys are looking very good. Very good. You're still going to have to deal with potential tropical storm conditions as all that wraparound banding comes through, but it's not going to be as hellacious as if this thing would have expanded or if it had moved a little bit further to the west. Have you been to Trinidad and Tobago? I have not. No, I have not. I've been wanting to, though. I want to take an Eastern Caribbean cruise one day. That'd be kind of nice. That would definitely be pretty cool. Hey, friendo, I just wanted to say great stream. Keep on being awesome, mate. Over and out. Yep, I appreciate that. I hope it stays away from Puerto Rico. We don't need that. No, I agree. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be dodging a bullet in Puerto Rico. We're going to have to continue to watch what the radar does and updates. Let's get another closer look at the storm itself. Let's go to visible satellite now. Hurricane Tammy. We'll go visible satellite imagery. Wait for the sun to come up, and there you have it. So, looking at it up close, and I'll try to zoom out a little bit. I know we're very zoomed in right now. There we go. So this is the interesting development we've had overnight with this bad boy. If you look, we have very good inflow and outflow still happening on the northern side of it, like so. But then you see these very, very faint whispers of high-level cloud cover right in through here. It looks like the core of the storm itself has consolidated. Very, very small, very compact, like so. If you can imagine, I'm trying to draw the wind field around it right now. We're probably still seeing pressure gradient and good tropical storm conditions in each of these feeder bands back behind it here, but the storm in of itself is starting to become a lot more closed off and compact. There's your eye somewhere in that general area. That's why I love visible satellites so much. And if it continues to track the way that it's going, Guadalupe could see a very, very close scrape from that eye wall feature, and then it's going to be a case of watching for Barbuda and Antigua up to the north here as it continues to track off in this general direction. Good sign, bad sign. Good sign is it's a small storm, so it's not going to take a whole lot for it to miss you guys. Bad sign is it could be getting stronger. Since we're seeing a really good symmetrical cyclone now, that means it could be deepening and getting a little bit stronger and more organized as it continues to move off to the north. I don't believe it's going to stall over you guys. I don't think it's going to stall right in this general area. It's going to be to your north that we finally see the stalling happen. Overcast in the southern region in St. Lucia. That makes a lot of sense. You can see it in the cloud cover right here. You have all that backside moisture and cloud cover working its way in. Barbados looks like they're gearing up for another round of heavy thunderstorm activity any moment now. It looks like St. Vincent could have some stuff trying to flare up. St. Lucia as well. Some very, very light embedded convection down there, it looks like on the visible satellite. And then honestly, yeah, I mean, it really looks like Dominica and Martinique are seeing just very, very, if I have viewers out there in Dominica and Martinique, could you go and like kind of take an observation from me? Because looking at satellite, it doesn't look like you have anything major overhead. It looks like you have some very high level cloud cover, some very thin, wispy cirrus flying through there, but nothing crazy. Even for my folks out there in Guadalupe, it doesn't really seem like you have a whole lot happening just yet. Can you explain El Nino and La Nina and how it impacts the Caribbean? Yes, we'll definitely get in there very soon, I promise. Bernice, welcome in from Dominica. Breathing much better, dry air not kicking its tail anymore? No, it doesn't look like it. Actually, in fact, it looks like maybe the dry air, what it did was, I know this is going to sound very weird to you guys, but since the dry air was coming in and you could still kind of see it trying to separate this thunderstorm mass from the main circulation core, it almost looks like Tammy responded with, okay, I'm going to shrink down and close off this area that's being fed that dry air. Very neat how these systems will evolve. They're not living beings, obviously. They're not organisms. But with fragile systems like tropical cyclones, they know how to get their act together. They know how to demonstrate a little bit of resilience, as we like to call it. From Dominica, you are correct. More clouds, nothing serious. Very good. What about the Halloween storm in the Caribbean? We were just talking about that. Sorry for asking all those nerd. That's not nerd type questions. That's what we're here to do. We're going to answer all those questions, so don't feel bad. I just want to make sure that we're keeping everybody updated here in terms of what's happening right now. It's officially 85 miles an hour. I figured. See, you think I've done this before. I'm just kidding. But let's go over to National Hurricane Center, see if they have all the information we need to take a look at right now. So, let's see. Let's go to public advisory. Where are you seeing the update there? Yep. Where are you seeing the update? Because I still see 80 miles an hour as of 8 a.m. Is there like a new... Usually they have a little update tab at the top. 80 miles an hour. We're deepening. We're definitely deepening. 988. So it's definitely getting stronger. Where did you see the 85 mile an hour update? Yep. Because I'm not seeing it here. That makes sense. I definitely can see that happening. We're getting a lot more symmetrical. It's a tinier storm, which means it's going to rotate faster. I'm looking at tropical tidbits. All right, let's go on over there. We'll open a new tab. Tropical tidbits, 75. Yeah, 987. You know what? They're probably ingesting recon data. Let's see if there's anything reconnaissance. Yeah, they're inside there right now, so that's probably what they're doing. Tropical Tidbits is updating based on reconnaissance data. Pardon me, I got to go get a glass of water here in a second. here in Antigua watching for the first time since last night. Cheryl, welcome in. Thanks for joining us. Good morning from Barbados. We are still getting thunder and rain. Yep, it looks like on satellite you have another big band getting ready to work its way through there. It is very overcast and raining in Barbados. Yep, you guys are in the tail end. You're in the deep backside of it now where all that inflow and moisture influx, or it's drawing in all the moisture from the south. So you're going to see prolonged periods of thunderstorm activity. Who needs to watch the wave behind it? Well, everybody out there in the Antilles definitely needs to watch it. It may not organize until it gets into the eastern central Caribbean, but you know what? Let's go ahead and talk that right now. So we'll go back to the satellite image. We'll go wide view of the Atlantic. Or you know what? Actually, we'll go central Atlantic. Here we go. So we're looking at the satellite image, and if you look, here's Tammy. Tammy is definitely... It's looking a little smaller, but more organized at the same time. This is all residual inflow and convective feeder banding with it, pulling moisture off of South America, and all that confluent airflow is keeping that chain of thunderstorms. And basically, guys, confluent means if you look at the air horizontally, confluent means the air's coming together. And if it's coming together in the low levels like this, when you think about it in terms of just mass and energy, if it collides, it has to go up. And that's exactly what's happening right there. All that inflow tail has taken moisture from around the bottom half of the storm and putting it together and forcing it upwards. And that's why we have that concentration of thunderstorm activity, even though the core of the storm itself has shrunk down, probably to get rid of that dry air intrusion happening yesterday. I'm on the end south of Dominica. It has clouds, but the sun is out. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. You guys are seeing some high-level stuff right now. Honestly, I mean, I'm not trying to jinx it. I'm going to knock on my wooden desk right now, but we're getting lucky right now. This storm is shrinking. It's getting stronger, but it's a very compact storm. Very cool to see. In fact, you can almost make the comparison here. The storm in itself, the core of it anyways, is almost the same size of maybe Puerto Rico or a second Puerto Rico, or maybe the same size as Dominican Republic. That's how small it is. It's definitely not a massive hurricane by any means, so... It won't take much to get hit with as close as it is, but it won't take much for you guys to miss it altogether as well. So we're walking a tightrope right now. I'm surprised we got 20 named storms on an El Nino. Yeah, and at the rate we're going, we could possibly see Vince very soon. Good morning from St. Martin. Rainy here. Has the track changed and shifted more towards us? So you know what? Not really, to tell you the truth. In fact, we're looking a little bit more favorable as it stands right now. It definitely took a much sharper turn to the north last night. You can see it right in through here, right there, and it starts moving due north, and it looks like at the last second now it's trying to take more of that north-northwestward path. So if it continues to move like that and we get a little bit more of an angle out of it, unfortunately, Antigua is either going to take a hit or it's going to come very close, and Barbuda is going to be on the extreme western side of that eye center. Problem with that is if it tries to continue to consolidate and deepen like it's trying to do right now, we could see greater impacts closer to the center. So we got to watch that eye closely. It looks like right now Guadeloupe could miss a direct hit. You might see the outer western side of that eye wall core, but unless it really suddenly shifts west, and it would have to almost go due west. At this point, Marie Galante and Guadeloupe are getting closer and closer to being able to take a deep breath and say, all right, we missed it. So, I mean, don't hold your breath right now, but because we still have some time. We have a few hours before it's up to the north, but Dominica, Martinique, and further to the south, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, you guys are in the clear. You're going to only see wraparound feeder banding with this system. You're not going to see the main event. So, honestly, definitely a relief. I'm more concerned about Vince right now. I agree. I don't want us to reach Whitney's name, but we might. You know what? Honestly, Miss Leah, you're absolutely right. Good morning. Welcome in. I'm surprised we got 20 named storms in El Nino. Yeah, this has been such an erroneous year, guys. A very erroneous year. But all right, let's go ahead and we're going to shift gears just briefly. So this is what we're looking at right now. We have that huge nor'easter that's picking the system up. And I know this is the 6 Zulu GFS, and we don't really like to use this too much, but, I mean, the GFS is ebbing and flowing with what we're seeing out there in terms of our other models as well. The only thing I don't like is the GFS wants to pull that tropical wave north with Tammy. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I really don't think that's going to happen, especially since all of our other models are thinking Tammy is going to stall out much further to the south. that tropical wave is going to move in like this. I don't see it following Tammy in hot pursuit like that. So you know what? With that being said, I'm going to switch models here. Let's go over to the 0Z Canadian model, because the 0Z Canadian model is the one that also looks fairly sporty. It's initialized very well with that little system we have in the very southern Caribbean. It was picking up on that very good, as well as what's up in the horizon. So, good morning from North Dominica. We are yet to get any rain or gusty wind. Still waiting. As of right now, you guys are in the clear. You're looking very good. The strongest stuff is already to your north. You're getting Antigua, Barbuda mixed up. Okay, so Antigua is looking like a westward side scrape. It's Barbuda who's going to have to watch closely to take a direct hit. That's going to be the big thing. Antigua is the larger island of the two. Okay, makes a lot of sense. For some reason, on previous maps, I was seeing A for Antigua and B, Barbuda to the south of that. So maybe I had it mixed up looking at some of the wrong maps online. But right now, as it stands, flip that. Barbuda is under the gun for taking a direct hit still. It's still off to your south-southeast. And it looks like Antigua is the one that's going to have to watch closely to see how far to the west this thing moves. Or if you guys take a very, very close scrape from the western extent of the center. Yeah, I was telling everybody last night that we were going to go live once again and watch this closely. But anyways, guys, let's get in here real quick before I get distracted again. So we're looking at the 0Z Canadian model. There goes the storm. The Canadian model wants it to track just barely to the east of Guadeloupe, moving just to the east. I'm talking like maybe a fraction of a millimeter to the east of Antigua, going right over top Barbuda, according to this. But then if you watch upstream, there goes Tammy stalling out. This is what I was mentioning to you guys just a little bit ago. You take a look at this nor'easter right here, and you can see the frontal line with it extends through here. We have another little embedded instant occlusion type feature starting to form up right there, and we just have a frontal line right in front of it. And it's not going to be able to escape because you have high pressure, very strong high pressure right in through here, creating that stark interaction with the front. And then we have this strong polar high, continental polar high coming off the United States. So she's going to sit there and get stuck. And then our breakaway little cold pocket that we've been talking about the last few days is right there. It's right there. It's very hard to pick up. If you're not used to looking at charts like this, you're going to miss it. But if you look at how the thickness lines right here, they kind of kink. That right there is our little weak cold pocket aloft. And I'll stay on the same chart, and or I'll stay on the same panel, and we'll go to the upper levels. We'll go 500 millibar height anomaly. There it is. So you can see it coming down. It tries to break off, and some of the cold air is going to merge. Where it's so zoomed out, you can't see it break off, but if you look, the heights with Tammy expand. That's that cold air getting drawn in from the south, that little cold pocket coming in and trying to mix with Tammy, and that's what's going to also help to increase the wind shear with her. It's going to help to weaken her down, hopefully, as well as kind of slow it down and try to absorb it. So anyways, we'll switch back to our surface mean sea level pressure. There you have it. So you could see it trying to take on very different characteristics at this point. It's running right into that polar airline. And see, the Canadian model doesn't want it to stall out and move towards Bermuda. It gets very close. It gets very close, and I can see what it's picking up on. It moves this high across the northern Atlantic quick. We open up a channel in between our southeast United States high pressure and the 1030 high, and it escapes to the north. But then if you look down over the Caribbean, here come our two waves. We have wave 1 that's already looking like an organized feature, and then wave 2 that's trying to get its act together still to the east of the Lesser Antilles. And then if you zoom in, we'll go down in there a little bit closer, Western Atlantic, get a look at the Caribbean. Clear my ink. There you have it. It starts deepening down into something. We have two different individual systems right there in close proximity to one another, one here and one here. Now, this makes sense with what we're seeing live. Will this pan out? We got to watch. That front leading system, that huge tropical wave, looks a lot more potent and aggressive. That could be the one that works its way into the Caribbean and tries to do something, whether it be just increase our rain chances or try to deepen into an actual disturbance, let alone an organized tropical cyclone. The model just recently started picking up on this second one. The second one, it was recently given a little bit more confidence that it will become something, but try to move to the north. And even at the very back end of this loop, you can kind of see that that first tropical wave tries to move into Dominican Republic and Haiti at the last second, and then they try to merge together. What happens from here is going to be very interesting, though. I want to see what happens as we go forward in time with this. We switch over to the Euro model, and you could see we're going to use the 60. The 60 will give us enough window of time to see. And there you have it. Again, the Euro is thinking that as it continues to deepen down, this model has it. Yeah, the Euro is doing very good. It might be hard for you guys to see, but the Euro has it traveling just barely to the east of Guadeloupe, moving maybe right over top Barbuda, scraping Antigua. It's going to be a very close call. And then as you get well to the north of our islands, that's when it stalls out. And then from here, it's anybody's best guess what happens. The 0Z model run has it becoming absorbed and wrapped up with our cold pocket. Cold pocket starts coming down, and then you see it really begin to broaden out. It gets absorbed by that bubble of cold air in the upper levels, trying to sink down to the surface, and that's what helps to wash it out and become nothing more than just a broad, low-pressure system as it tracks towards Cuba, the Bahamas, and maybe even the southern portion of the Florida Peninsula. So very interesting setup right here. Very, very dynamic setup, as a matter of fact. So yeah, there you have it. Antigua and Barbuda are a twin nation state, so what happens to one affects the other. Yeah, I agree. That definitely, you guys are close enough for sure to see very similar impacts. From Dominica, no rain at all. The sun is hot. Kiki Thomas. Yeah, looking at the satellite imagery, you guys don't have a whole lot overhead right now. A lot of the main action is to your north, and then we have all that wraparound moisture and convection to your south. So yeah, we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on this. I know last night at 0Z, GFS had a little bit better of a handle on it. The GFS actually has it beelining right towards Bermuda. And then what's very bizarre is it spins it around and then brings it back through Bermuda and then brings it down towards the southeast before then getting washed out by our next huge system coming through. And you can also see that it tries to do something with our tropical wave moving through the Lesser Antilles at this point in time, October 29th. There's our wave. And what the 0Z GFS thinks is our next major frontal system coming down. You can see a 1036 high in central United States. That's what's going to help destroy what's left of Tammy and destroy what's left of that tropical wave. So we're going to have to see exactly what happens. And then there goes that very, very broad, low-level cyclone forming up down there. Lots of stuff to watch. Lots of stuff to watch. Yeah, nothing here on National Hurricane Center yet. Wow, I'm surprised that they're going for upwards of 6 inches in the Virgin Islands with this. Wow. Because honestly, I know a lot of you guys out there have not really seen a whole lot of rain. So I'm very curious to understand the forecast reasoning with 6 inches in our Virgin Islands. And they're also not even going for as much in St. Croix, it looks like. Oh, yeah, absolutely. NW, for sure. Antigua looks like a bullseye from this storm. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a close one. The track has it moving through there. The track definitely has it going through. We'll go back to our interactive map that we were showing yesterday. We'll turn the map on, and you can see that right now as the track holds, they're still anticipating that it's going to jog much further to the west, run right up against the eastern coastline of Guadeloupe, and then go right towards Antigua. And then Barbuda will be on the harshest side of the system. But you look at radar, and that's not what's currently happening. Right now, if it continues to move its current course, you're going to miss it. And you're going to be on the very western side of it. Let's see, they're tracking it off. It looks like at the last second, it's trying to move closer. So, I mean, unless it continues to bias the west movement, it's more so going to be a Barbuda main direct hit threat. as it stands looking at radar. Stephen S. Best, no, I don't think Tammy's going to hit the Carolinas. We're still going to have that frontal force field out there stopping it. South Florida ain't have nothing all hurricane season. I know, that's a good thing. Raining in Montserrat, that makes a lot of sense. Definitely makes a lot of sense. You have some of that wraparound moisture coming in through that area now. You look at it on radar, and there's some very weak feeder banding getting slingshot up through your area. It also looks like Antigua Barbuda might have some shower activity overhead of you guys as well, if not moving through. But fire your questions off, guys. Fire your questions off. I'm not going to stay too long in the live stream this morning. We were on for a little bit over 2 hours last night. I do have a lot of things to do today and plans with the family later, so I can't stay on for too very long. But we've seen some positive trends. We can start checking islands off of the worst conditions list. Like I'd mentioned, St. Lucia, Martinique, all the way up through Dominica, you guys are missing a direct landfall from this storm. You guys are not going to see a heck of a lot of activity as of right now, at least in terms of the core of the storm. Wraparound stuff is still up in the air. We'll have to see exactly how much of the convection holds together to the south of this system now. And from there, you know, it's anybody's best guess. We could have thunderstorm activity flare up during the daytime. We could have the overnight convection try to blossom to its south side, and that's going to be, you know, that could be very bad if it does try to park itself and train over the Windward Islands. Barbados is definitely seeing some stuff. You guys have to be seeing rain out there for sure, looking at the radar. And it actually looks like St. Lucia is starting to see some thunderstorm activity as well. Getting close to it. St. Vincent had some rain and some showers moving through there. I live in Antigua. The rains are isolated, scattered for the moment. The place is definitely wet. No sunshine and mild winds. Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like you guys have some light feeder banding working its way through there right now. Nothing intense, though. Nothing crazy on radar. This storm is very compact. So you're going to have to get very up close and personal with the center of Tammy to actually see some major influx, or impacts, I guess I should say. Yeah, looking at all the different radar products, like we're seeing some very steady accumulation in the harshest weather with this storm. Oh, Trinidad and Tobago, looks like you guys have some thunderstorm activity moving through your area. That's for certain, especially Tobago. Looks like Tobago should be getting some light, showery rain right now. Very interesting to see, though. There's such a huge gap between where the center is and then our next line of good feeder banding. Yes, we are also thunder in Barbados. Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. You guys have a lot of the good feeder banding going on right now, as a matter of fact. It looks like a lot of our strongest stuff is definitely along the southern side of this. I was going to say the south side. On the southern side of this storm, working its way right in up through there into the southern periphery of the center. Even the thunderstorm activity closer to the center doesn't look all that crazy. Like, that eye wall is not incredibly defined. So, I mean, we're seeing some strengthening. It's definitely deepening down, especially since it gained all that symmetry earlier this morning. But it's not a catastrophic storm by any means. You guys are, like, really walking that tightrope for sure. Definitely walking a very thin tightrope right now. Martinique and Dominica, you guys dodged the bullet big time. You guys are only going to see the residual effects from the backside of this system. You're really not going to see a direct hit or any of the hurricane force winds for that matter. At least I think. I definitely think. I'm putting it out there right now. In these feeder bands, there's no saying you can't see 50, 60, 65 mile an hour wind gusts in those stronger banding features you can see on radar, but I think you guys are definitely good to go. Don't quote me. I'm not an official source, but based on my experience and looking at the radar here, it looks like the hurricane force winds are going to be up to the north of you guys. The tropical wave, what's your take on the long-range track? I buy into it, Devil Charger. I can definitely see that becoming an issue for our same areas we're talking about right now, Leeward, Windward Islands. U.S., British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. Dominican Republic, depending on how far to the east it tries to track, I mean, regardless, you could see that our rain chances are going to go through the roof. We might even see more rain with that tropical wave than we are with Tammy right now. And this is on the GFS. As we get closer to October 30th, October 31st, into the first couple days in November, you see rain chances really go ham. And then it looks like the 0Z GFS does want that tropical wave to track into the Central Caribbean and bring up some rain chances for the Southern Caribbean, as well as Jamaica, parts of Cuba, Dominican Republic, moving towards the Cayman Islands before that next frontal system tries to squash it all together. So it's really a wait-and-see kind of game. Let's take a look at what the Icon has on it right now. Icon has been honestly doing the best. The Icon has been on the ball with this system. The Icon has been doing tremendous with the track. It looks like it's behind on the intensity right now. We're seeing a stronger system, but the Icon has been like literally just blasting this thing again and again and again and again, keeping very good eyes on that storm. And the Icon does not want it to stall out too far to the south. It still wants it to take that northward track and then move towards Bermuda. There you can see it moving towards Bermuda, and then all of a sudden it moves. It tries to make a run at Florida. It really does. The Icon has it making a run straight towards the east coast of Florida, but I don't think it's going to make it. I think we're going to see it wash out because there's just too much wind shear out there and too much in the way of cold air still out there. Yeah, you can see all that troughing. We don't have a shear chart with the Icon, but where you see all this upper-level jet energy screaming across here, there's definitely going to be wind shear accompanying that. All through here, probably wind shear, crazy amounts of wind shear. So I don't see that storm. And there's our cold pocket. Icon is thinking that cold pocket's still going to make its way all the way down. So perhaps if that cold pocket does continue to carry with it some jet energy, we could see that tropical wave migrate up to the north. Anybody's best guess right now. There's so many different big and small pieces of this stuff, or of the environment going on right now, that there's really no way to nail down a long-range forecast like this. This is still a week out. This is October 28th, moving into Saturday morning of next weekend. I'm trying to figure out which side of my home to protect more. If the winds are going to be south, I need more shutters. Go ahead and kind of break down exactly. So you're in Antigua. If the storm's coming in from the south, you're going to have more due northerly winds for a large majority of its time out there. The winds are going to start out of the east, and then if it continues to move either directly overhead or just to your east, they're going to start out of the east, transition to out of the north, and then once you get around the back side of it, they're going to be coming out of the southwest. So it won't be until you're on the south side of it will you have to worry about the southerly portion of your household, beautifully aged, if I'm reading you correctly, if I'm trying to interpret what you're saying properly. How are things looking for St. Kitts? So St. Kitts is looking pretty good right now, even with where the current track has it. With as small of a storm as this thing is, you're going to barely dodge the bullet of seeing very intense tropical storm and very low-end hurricane force winds. Let's switch over to windy.com because this wind field looks very big. You guys in Dominica, you guys didn't say you're seeing tropical storm force winds. This is what I was talking about last night on the live stream. Sometimes you can't really trust the black and white charts because it doesn't mesh with what we're seeing dynamically. So if I have anybody out there in Guadeloupe or Dominica, can you verify that you're under tropical storm conditions right now? I don't think you would be. I don't think you're going to see 40-mile-an-hour winds right now, but go ahead and verify if we have anybody out there who could take an observation right now. I don't see it happening, but this wind chart right here, the wind radius, shows that Dominica is seeing tropical storm force winds. You guys in Marie Galante right here, this island there, could definitely be seeing tropical storm, if not approaching mid to high-end tropical storm force winds. Guadeloupe, the whole island, according to this chart, is seeing tropical storm level winds. So if I have anybody in here who could verify that for me, that'd be wonderful. Because I personally, looking at the satellite and the radar, I don't see that happening. We can transition over to windy.com and see what's going on out there. Let's see. Windy always does us a big favor. Yeah, so I mean, it looks like the strongest winds, if I had to draw my own version of that wind chart, it looks like it's right in through here. Right in through there is where your strongest stuff is. The low center is definitely concentrating. You can see it deepening. Look at that. On here, there's a very pronounced little center of circulation. But it looks like the extreme east and northeast periphery of Guadeloupe and Gallant Marie, or Marie Gallant right here, are seeing very low-end tropical storm force winds. Montserrat close to Guad, and it's calm. Am I reading that right? I got that little... I wish I can get this heart out of the way, because it kind of cuts off some people's comments. And it's calm. Bradley Amer, yeah, so... I definitely think we might be overestimating. No tropical storm force winds on the western side of Dominica, where I am currently. We have no rain or wind right now. So, Clinton, are you saying that it's like calm, variable winds out there? Are we seeing anything 5-10 miles an hour? Anything that could get the leaves or some loose paper blown in the wind? Or is it getting closer to calm? Here from the left island of Guadeloupe. So you're on the west side of it. Okay. With the way it's tracking right now, let's use this overlay on windy.com. So there you have it. It looks like Antigua is going to miss, according to this is the European model right here, by the way, guys. Antigua is going to miss the extreme strongest stuff with this system. Barbuda is the one that could see a landfall. So my eyes are still focused on Barbuda. Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, even Guadeloupe, Marie Gallant down here, and then further south, Dominica, Martinique. You guys are living the dream, technically, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term. Just a little wind in Montserrat. Okay. Very good. Let's refresh the radar, see if we have another little eye view of it. You have to have front row seats or it's a bust, perhaps. You know, honestly, with as tiny of a storm as this is, I want to say that's probably the case. At this point, it looks like Barbuda is the one that's going to see the fireworks show in terms of this hurricane-level intensity, unless all of a sudden, like I said, this thing bombs out and we get an expansion of the winds and the thunderstorms all of a sudden. Right now where I am, there isn't much wind, no rain, and just a lot of waves in the water. The waves make sense because we do have a potent hurricane right off the coast, so you're probably seeing some good swells and some very good white caps. Super Charas, I'm not sure if you're just joining us, but welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. In Guadeloupe, it is starting a little bit of wind, but nothing bad right now. Okay, so you might be on the outer edge of that wind field. The wind field might be a little bit smaller than what National Hurricane Center is indicating. Yeah, our heaviest accumulation is off to the east. If you look at this right side chart right here, this East Caribbean mosaic, 6-hour accumulation. The Euro, actually, you know what? I got to give it credit. The Euro looks like it has been spot on for the last few days of where the strongest precip accumulation has been moving, right out there. Because I remember in a couple of video segments ago I noticed that on the islands, we could see 2 to 4 inches maximum, maybe, and then a lot of the higher accumulation is off to your east over open water. Therese James, very overcast, rain, thunder, and lots of lightning on the west coast of Barbados. That makes sense. You have some very potent rotating feeder bands moving through your area right now. Let's go back over to your radar so we can get a closer look. But yeah, you guys are seeing some of the stronger banding right now. Storm looks like an embryo. Yeah, how close are we? I agree. If you guys have ever watched Dragon Ball Z, it looks like Imperfect Cell when he was an embryo. Random reference, I know. Very random. There it goes, tracking north, picking up a little bit of forward speed. You know, honestly, looking at the radar, that center looks like it's about to fall in on itself again. The center looks like it's going to fall in on itself. You can see very good banding here early on in the radar. I wish is there a way I could pause this? There has to be a way I can pause it. Or maybe take like a screenshot at the right time. Feeder bands are underrated. Yeah, honestly, in this case, the feeder bands are going to be the more dangerous situation unless that system goes right over your head. Beautifully aged Barbuda only has 1,500 population after Irma. They really don't need another one. No, they don't. They don't. Luckily, this isn't an Irma, but we're going to have to watch it closely because I think out of all of our islands out there, Antigua is still going to have to watch, but Barbuda is going to be the one that really needs to make sure that you guys stay put over the next several hours. Zenful, welcome in, hun. Thank you for joining us. So, yeah, I don't know how it will be. Anzion 10. Augustina Lawrence, I am in the north of Antigua. A bit windy, showers on and off, dark clouds. That makes sense. You have some banding getting ready to work its way through there. Very light rain, very light sporadic banding associated with this feature. We're going to lose it on the radar here very soon. But, yeah, there's some very intense. I saw at the tail end of this radar loop. Very intense banding moving through Barbados right now. And it looks like Tobago had some thunderstorm activity as well going on. You can see all the moisture getting drawn north. Across Trinidad and Tobago. You guys had some really good thunderstorm activity last night. Tobago seeing a little bit of it, and then that band moved off to the east. Good stuff, though. Very good stuff. Good news and a little bit of not so good news peppered in this morning. Watching from Dominica, Taj official. It makes sense since it's not fully developed yet. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to say it again. It looks like Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and obviously Barbados. Further south you go into the Windward Islands. You guys are in the clear of seeing a direct hit. Don't think at all this thing is going to get you guys head on. It's going to be all feeder band activity you have to watch out for. Stalling to the north of St. Martin? Yes, it's going to stall to the north of everybody. At least that's what the models have it doing right now. I don't believe and I don't anticipate it's going to stall right over you guys. There's no way, dynamically speaking, that it can do that. It's going to be, once it gets to the north, kind of sandwiched in between the Greater Antilles, the Lesser Antilles, and very well south of Bermuda, that all of a sudden it's going to get stuck underneath that ridge of high pressure. You can see it right here. So it's well to you guys' north as we get into Monday, Tuesday, and then it stops. Literally just stops because it's running up against this massive 1029 high. It's not going to have anywhere to go. If we go back to 0Z has it getting very interesting. It butts up against that high and then starts washing out with that cold pocket as it moves westward towards Cuba, Dominican Republic, increasing rain chances for Jamaica, Cayman Islands. I'm watching this right here. I paused because I see this very, very broad low spin right there in the model. I wonder if that's our cold pocket. Is that our cold pocket down there? Is it that far south? Height norm anomaly. That is it, yeah. That is it. So there's our cold pocket. The cold pocket's going to come down. The Euro does a much better job of indicating it. So here's our trough. That blue shading here, those are lower heights in the atmosphere, indicating cooler air sinking in the air, a lower atmosphere level, if you will. This is going to break off, and that's what's also going to help to catch Tammy right here. And they're going to kind of morph into one single feature. There you have it. There's all that blue shading. Tammy's going to get absorbed within that cold pocket, according to the Euro, and then it's going to wander across the Greater Antilles into the Caribbean and then move into Central America. That's the latest iteration of the European model. We'll definitely have to watch it closely because, honestly, none of our models do very good. They don't do very good at all with these cutoff systems. I'm in the northeastern part of Dominica. It's a bit windy and dark. No rain here yet and doesn't look bad so far, just dark and windy. Taj Official, if you could kind of give us an estimate, just based off of your observations, what types of wind or what type of wind are you seeing out there? Are we talking just a light breeze? Could papers and leaves be picked up and tossed around a little bit? Is it actually blowing to where tree limbs are moving, trees are blowing? Or, like, what are we looking at right now? Lenny stalled outside, St. Martin as well. Yeah, no, yellows, I definitely don't think we're going to have to worry about this system suddenly parking over top the likes of Barbuda, Antigua, St. Kitts and Nevis, all those northern Leeward Islands. I don't think it's going to do that. I definitely don't think it's going to do that. I don't think it's going to move further to the west towards the Virgin Islands or St. Croix, let alone Puerto Rico. Of course, it goes without saying we're in a very volatile environment. Everything is changing hour by hour, so we'll have to watch it closely. Nothing is set in stone, but based off of what I'm seeing right now, so you can see all the models are in very good agreement. If I can open this up, all the models are in very good agreement that once we get 2 more days into the future. We're going to get it past everybody. It's going to keep moving, and then right there where I have my line drawn in those 2 X's, that's when it could stall out. That's when it could possibly stall out in through here or try to get picked up with our front, and then when that high pressure dominates the weather pattern to its north, it could swoop back to the west. So that's why interests out in Bermuda need to be watching this closely. We still need to be watching in the Greater Antilles for that cold pocket coming down to increase your rain chances, maybe even mesh with this system. In Deshay, Guadeloupe, I just opened the roller shutter and there's a little sunshine wind, but nothing strong. I'd say it's moderate breeze, but trees really moving and you can hear that sound. Okay, so you guys are probably seeing tropical depression, if not very, very low-end tropical storm level gusts, I would say, based off of your depiction. The winds where I am is good enough to move some leaves, but definitely not make them fly, and that's the gusts. Okay. Will Anguilla get the heavy rains and little rain and wind? Oh, you retracted your message, Blue Skies. I gotta go get some water here in a second. I can definitely feel my throat going haywire again like it did last night from Guadeloupe. Watching from Antigua, Barbuda, we are expecting some light breeze right now. Jocelyn Humphrey, welcome in. Thank you for watching. It's going to be you guys up there, Antigua and Barbuda. Those are going to be the main concern areas for this storm as it tracks north. Let's go back to our satellite shot. Let's see what the satellite has it doing right now. We'll go true color so we can zoom out a little bit. Yeah, you can see even as we go further in time, if you guys look at it here on that long wave infrared, look at how big it is, albeit still very compact. It's a small storm, but look at the size of it there, and then look at the size of it at the end of our run. This storm almost looks like it's deepening. It's getting stronger, but it's also shrinking at the same time. You have all this leftover banding on the south side flowing into it because of its southerly wind flow, or I should say winds coming out of the south moving into the inflow portion of the hurricane, but the storm looks like it's getting smaller. From Dominica, Martinique, even down into St. Lucia, you guys aren't seeing a whole lot. There does look to be some feeder band activity on the very southern coastline of St. Lucia, but nothing severe. Dark Earth, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. One model has Tammy going absolutely ballistic and trucking into Florida. Yeah, that's the Icon. The Icon at 0Z all of a sudden had it just trying to... It was like, I'm coming for you guys. I see you out there talking smack about me right now. I'm coming in. And it tries to do that. Let me go back over to the Icon so I can show you guys. Icon definitely has it out for Florida all of a sudden. I don't think it's going to make it here. But if you watch, let's go to Icon. We'll go back to 0Z. And there you have it, moving to the north, moving through our islands, and then it gets to the north, butts up against that high pressure, tries to ride east, move towards Bermuda, and then right here towards the back end of the run, the 26th into the 27th, all of a sudden, whoop, headed straight for us, and then we can't see any further than that. So, I mean, we got to see. I'm not calling anything for Florida, but I find it interesting that the Icon all of a sudden wants to put a bullet in our back. Good morning, Sharon. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, Devil Insane Track. What's the prediction for St. Kitts and Nevis? So I think St. Kitts and Nevis are going to definitely see the western side of this storm. It's going to be a western side swipe, I believe, unless it suddenly jogs much further to the west over the next couple of hours. It looks like Marie Gallant and Guadeloupe are going to see the west side of it. Antigua may be under the gun for a landfall, but I'm thinking more Barbuda could see more of a landfall at this point. Malachi, Barbados isn't really that bad, but some flooding. Yeah, no, you guys have some very potent banding going through right now. It's not the main event of the storm, so you're probably going to see some local inundation or some localized flooding, puddling up on the roadways and other lower-lying areas, but it's mainly just going to be on and off banding. On and off banding for a lot of you guys. And same thing for Taj Official right there. What's the prediction of Dominica? You guys are in the clear in terms of saying a direct hit. You guys are in the clear. It's definitely to your north now. We'll go back to radar, and you can see What do we got? We got Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Barbados, down here Trinidad and Tobago. Everybody that I have extra circled, you're in the clear from seeing a direct hit from this storm. You guys are not going to see very, very rambunctious conditions, although Barbados and it looks like even St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you guys are going to be in the southern quadrant of this hurricane, and that's when you're going to have storms start training. So that flood threat is going to start going up. I can see it in the radar towards the back end. If you watch these islands in particular, right in through here, look at all this training thunderstorm activity working its way in overhead. So Barbados, you're definitely in for some potent activity here momentarily. St. Lucia, St. Vincent, you guys are also going to see some of the banding going on. Martinique, it's only a matter of time. Guadeloupe is kind of in a bad spot right now. Not necessarily. I mean, it's going to be a close call. Way it's tracking right now, it's going to be a very close call. Very close call. It's moving at about, wow, that was a terrible line. Excuse me. It's moving at about, nope. Drawing with a pen and drawing with a mouse pen is difficult. It's moving at about 340 degrees north-northwest. So unless it tries to favor a bit more of a westward fetch, you guys are going to see the west side of it. And the west side is looking fairly clear, too, on this radar. Let me go back to our northern radar product so we can get a closer look. Here we go. Let's see if we have some more radar data. So there's our center, tracking, does that 90-degree turn, starts moving north, and dang it, we lose the radar again. It's somewhere right in through here, that center. So it's definitely looking like Antigua, Barbuda are going to take a hit from this. So you guys definitely got to stay sheltered in place, stay hunkered down. You have about another 6 to 8 hours before it starts bearing down on you. Marie Gallant right here, Guadeloupe, especially the East Island there, you guys are going to take a very close shave from it. You might lose a couple hairs, but I don't think you're going to see a direct hit. Right now, yes, Dixie and Bracken, Antigua, Barbuda are the main concerns. Anybody else have questions? I'm glad we have so many folks tuning in. And I remember someone last night said, if the view count is lower, it's because you guys have lost power. And luckily, it looks like the view count is about the same as we had yesterday evening, so I would assume you guys are doing okay. I really wish this thing would stop phasing out like that. I want to know what's going on with the radar data out there to where we lose sight of it all of a sudden. Let's see if we have anything from National Hurricane Center, any new updates. No, not yet. No updates just yet. Usually by now, if there were any main messages or things they needed to relay, it would be popping up. Yeah, Malachi, go ahead. What's the question? Every time it seems to get an eye on radar, it implodes. Yeah, definitely. Dark Earth, actually, once it made that 90-degree turn, it looks like it started to speed up a little bit. It was moving very slow, but then right there, you see that 90-degree turn, and it looks like it starts trucking. It might be trying to slow down again now as we get to the east of Guadeloupe and Gallant Marie out there, or Marie Gallant. It looks like we actually had the radar come back. Nope, never mind. Once it made that 90-degree turn, it picked up some steam. It definitely started moving. You see it moving there, and then boom, 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 boom. It starts trucking, and now it looks like it may be trying to slow down just a little bit. I saw the 6-hour satellite time lapse, and it looks like the center keeps growing outward. Looks really weird. Yeah. So the core itself has consolidated, and we have a perfect circle around the eye now on satellite image. But it definitely seems like the actual core, the eye wall, the part that has the most severe activity with it just can't hold itself together. It's like building a solid skyscraper building with popsicle sticks. They just can't sustain itself, and those walls of the eye itself keep folding in on itself. You can see it right there, looking pretty good, and then, bam, we lose it. Even though we lose the radar, you can see it kind of just sort of falls apart again. So Tammy, is it moving slow? So will it get bigger or smaller? It's moving at a decent pace. I mean, it's not crawling. It's not moving at 2 to 3 miles an hour, but it's not racing by either. We're still going to be under the influence of this for quite a while, but it doesn't seem like it's going to get that much bigger. It looks like it's very consolidated, a very sharp-looking storm on satellite. If you come back over here onto the true color, you can see it. This is our storm, the core of the storm anyways, right here. That's it, right there. So we have a perfect circle now. We have the eye right in through here somewhere, according to the satellite image. Maybe it's just off to the west of where I have that X drawn. All this down here to the south is wraparound moisture inflow to the south side of it. The storm itself is consolidated pretty good, and that's why I think we're going to see continuous intensification at least a little bit. Will have any effect in Puerto Rico? The only 182, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot in Puerto Rico. If it continues moving its current course off to the northwest and the north-northwest like this, you're going to miss a lot of it out there in Puerto Rico. Same thing with the U.S. British Virgin Islands. Even if it does get up here, because it's an east and south side loaded storm, you'll have a lot of that major stuff out over through here. So again, just like with Tropical Storm Philippe, it's going to be when you get on the back side of it, once it gets to your north, and this is for everybody out there, for the Leeward Islands in particular especially, once it gets up to your north, that's when a lot of the banding that's going on in Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada probably, we've seen some good thunderstorm activity in Tobago, that's when all that's going to be parked overhead, and you got to watch for those training thunderstorms. The eye needs a blue chew. Devil Charger. Blue chew it is. So the long L is wrong. What do you mean the long L? What do you mean how close are we? Are you talking about the one that I have drawn there? Because that was from my radar. Let me clear that. I don't want you paying attention to that. That's from what I drew on the radar imagery. I just woke up. I might have went to bed at 3 a.m. I know, Ethan's Life, you were messaging me on Instagram pretty late last night. I felt bad that I finally passed out after about, I think it was like 12:30 in the morning or something like that, waiting to see what the 0Z data looked like. Looks like it's moving northwest again. Yeah, that's what I'm watching for. That's why I'm still thinking that Antigua and Barbuda are going to be the ones that really need to keep a close eye out on its progress. Let me refresh again, see if we can get the radar back on this GIF. This is what I was drawing earlier, though. You see it make a clear right turn to the north, and then, yeah, at the vast second, it does look like it's trying to favor more of a northwestward path. Right before we lose the saddle, or right before we lose the radar, I should say. Right there. Center somewhere right in through this general area. Wow, Dark Earth, thank you very much. You've been very, very generous over the last couple of hours, and I can't thank you enough for that. Honestly, I can't. Truthfully. Have it passed Dominica already? Yeah, it looks like you guys are definitely on the backside of it now. That eye is not coming your way out in Dominica. Definitely not coming your way. You see it right there passing to your northeast. So you guys are definitely in the safe zone. You're definitely going to get wraparound moistures. What am I saying? You're definitely going to get wraparound moisture and banding with it and some training effect of the thunderstorms. Training means they're parked over top of you for a long period of time and just kind of sustain themselves in that same general angle, just dumping rain and intense activity over your area for an extended period of time. That's when the flooding becomes a major risk. Yeah, I agree, Dark Earth. Let's give this man some love. Oh, well, thank you guys. Tremere, how about Antigua and Barbuda? Those are the main ones. Those are the main ones we're watching for. These two islands here, Antigua and Barbuda. You guys are the ones that really need to watch this closely. It's going to be a close call. It's definitely going to be a very close call. If not, it might be a direct hit for you two. Guadeloupe and Marie Gallant, you guys are going to pass, or the storm's going to pass just barely off to your west, or east, I should say, just barely off to your east. You will be on the west side of it. If we extrapolate it out before we lose the radar, if it's right here and we extrapolate it and move it forward in time, this is the direction it's going to take. So you're going to get scraped in Guadeloupe. That east island of Guadeloupe is going to get scraped. Antigua and Barbuda, you guys are the ones that need to stay sheltered in place. Yeah, thank you very much, Ethan. Ethan and Dark Earth, thank you very much for your generosity. Genuinely appreciate that, guys. Wholeheartedly. So is it safe to travel to the north of the island now? Althea, where are you again? Please remind me. I apologize. From Dominica, to God be the glory. Isabel, yes, I agree. It's very wild how these things do what they do, but you see it here, moving, and then it just takes a 90-degree angle right there. If you guys are familiar with geometry class back in the day, right triangles, full 90-degree turn right there. It was headed right towards Martinique, and then just, boom, gone. So, awesome. Very awesome to see. I feel like weather forecasts are really hard. I mean, we have tens of models, and most of them are wrong. Anzion, it's not that the models are wrong. It's more so that they just sometimes have a hard time. And we are so out of the norm for this time of the year that the models are also trying to take into account historically what the weather is like in these areas during the month of October, and because of the weird dynamics we have in play, the models are playing catch-up just like we are, because this is out of the historical weather norm for the Lesser Antilles. Big time, too. I mean, this thing just went boop. So, Virgin Islands, Jane, Virgin Islands are looking pretty good. If it continues on its current path, it's definitely going to miss you guys. You're going to get good wraparound moisture from it, but nothing too intense. Unless that center jogs west, then you'll have to watch it, but for now, you're looking pretty good. Virgin Islands, U.S. British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, you're looking pretty good. It's sunny in Tortola. God is good. Sandra, amen. It's too early to tell anything useful about St. Martin, right? So you know what? I mean, it's not that it's too early, but we could still see a jog to the west and create issues for you guys. Right now, the arrow that I have drawn here, this very poor-looking arrow, I'll try to redraw it so it looks a little bit clearer for you guys. Here comes the center, here comes the center, here comes the center. There it is. It's right there on that last radar frame. If you track it off like this, oh my gosh, why is my hand shaking so much? I think I still have pre-workout in my system. That's, if you just track it forward, if you track it forward and it doesn't wobble back or forth, that's the track that it's going to take right there. So, Antigua, Barbuda, I can say it an endless amount of times, in the very eastern side of Guadeloupe are going to see the worst of the storm. Potentially see the worst of the storm, especially Antigua and Barbuda. Barbuda more than anything. I think Barbuda is going to be the one that's going to get slammed. How soon will Antigua be hit? Well, let's watch. Let's try to extrapolate it out. So, let's see. There's no timestamp on here. Oh, there it is. We do have a timestamp on here, and we lose it. Come on, that doesn't help us at all. Let's go back to the National Hurricane Center track and see what they have. Let's go timing over here. Here's our interactive track. So at 2 p.m. this afternoon, the hurricane itself could be right next to Guadeloupe. 2 p.m. I think that's a little slow. I think it might be there a little sooner than that based on what I'm seeing on radar, but I could be wrong. So right now the baseline is mid-afternoon, Guadeloupe. Conditions are really going to go downhill if they're not already starting to as that initial wave begins to work its way in. And then for Antigua and Barbuda, in between there, so that's 2 a.m., so we have a 12-hour period right in through here. So I'm assuming anywhere between 6 to 8 p.m., your time out there is when things could really start hitting the fan if this thing continues to track off to that northwest direction. 6 to 8 p.m. Mildred Reyes Star, thank you. Got family down there trying to figure out when they can get him. Of course, definitely. My goal is to donate around $10 per stream. Ethan's life. I mean, you don't have to, buddy, but shucks, I'm not going to say no. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Means a lot. I mean, I don't come on the live streams for the donations. Of course, they're very much appreciated. I don't think anybody in their right mind would ever say no to a donation, regardless of what it is. But, thank you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. What are you talking about since I can't hear physically? Somebody go ahead and tune Super Chara's in, please. Check Wendy. I have a job. Okay, good. That's good. Hey, Ethan, very good for you, man. You're my favorite weather YouTube. Thanks for all you do, Nazario. Thank you very much, Malachi. I appreciate that. How bad do you think St. Kitts and Nevis will be affected? It's going to be a very close call, Monica. Very close call. Because if you look at the track right now, we have St. Kitts and Nevis as well, or Nevis, and Montserrat on the very western side of it. And with the way the storm is structured on satellite and radar, I mean, I don't think you're going to see very, very intense impacts, because if the center is here and it tracks up like this, according to National Hurricane Center, it's going to be Antigua and Barbuda who see the very worst of what this storm has to offer. The eastern half, the eastern island of Guadeloupe, could see some very intermittent hurricane-like conditions, especially if that eye wall does get going again as it gets closer to you guys. But St. Kitts and Nevis, you guys are going to be on the outer edge of that eye wall core, so it's looking like tropical storm conditions for you guys. Agatha, Dominica is in the clear. It's in the clear. You guys are not going to see a direct hit from this storm. You still have to worry about residual wraparound moisture as well as the feeder bands on the backside of it. There's a tremendous amount of feeder banding going on, and they're kind of pausing where they are as they train in. They're going stationary and allowing that moisture just continue to funnel in at a particular angle. That's where things could get a little dicey for you guys out there in the Windward Islands and the areas that are not directly impacted by the center itself. Just popped the live on, going back to bed. Griffin, we'll see you later, dude. What about St. Martin? Yeah, St. Martin, the same general idea, in my opinion. Same general idea. Around what time will Dominica feel the effects? Well, I mean, you guys are not going to see the main event of this storm. It's already off to your north and east, thankfully. So it could be another 6 to 8 hours before all that wraparound feeder banding can make its way through that area. A lot of helpfully information watching from Antigua. We appreciate it. Nikki Nietzsche Harris, of course. I'm glad Nazario is covering this for you guys. Oh, yeah, we've been at it. I wish I could have stayed up, but my body is still trying to make sure that bug I had last week has like completely gone, so I don't want to risk relapsing. I didn't get very much sleep last night, and I still thrashed it in the gym this morning, so Lord willing, my multivitamin and all that'll keep me safe. But, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good right now. That's why we're doing it. That's why we're doing our thing. Don't need none of them here in Trinidad. Had been throughout the years gone by. Yeah, no, Shelly. Trinidad is definitely in the clear. You guys are still going to see some bad weather with all the thunderstorms wrapping around the south side of it. But luckily, not a direct hit. Realistically, can a tropical storm or Category 1 hurricane actually do damage? Always felt like it had to be Cat 2 or higher for it to be bad. So, you know, that's a very rough question to answer, to tell you the truth. And the reason I say that is not necessarily because of the storm itself. It more so has a lot to do with the environment as well as the infrastructure of wherever it is you're getting hit. For example, Bermuda, from what I hear, they have a very structured, just kind of like urbanization going on their island. So if they take a Cat 1, you know, Cat 2, it won't be the worst. After a certain point, like major hurricane status and up, it becomes very hard to de-escalate any kind of major impacts from it. What is the general idea for St. Martin, as you are saying? So we definitely have to keep a close eye out up there in St. Martin. So St. Martin, St. Kitts, Nevis, Antigua, Barbuda, even the eastern half of Guadeloupe are still going to have to watch this system closely. I really want us to get another piece of this radar so we can start to extrapolate where it is going as we get towards the very tail end of the loop. Let's see, maybe we can get something else. Uh-oh, guys. Okay, so my battery on my camera just died. But I'm still here. We lost the camera, unfortunately. I don't know why the camera is exhausted, but I hope you guys... My audio is still coming through, so should be okay for a little bit longer. Let me see if I can troubleshoot why it is my camera has suddenly gone out. Oh, my camera is super hot. That's why. All right. We've lost visual contact. I repeat, we have lost visual contact. My camera is gone, but can you guys press 1 in the chat if you can still hear me okay? Should be, because my mic is totally separate, and the mic is still going strong from what I can see in my software. So, you're the only person giving us the newest info, the only live stream, the only weatherman who is keen about answering his viewers. Thank you. Ethan's Life, again, thank you. I'm about to turn 15, might get a part-time job with my sister. I need money, and I also like to support. Definitely would recommend do that. How close are we? Looking to getting some part-time work. It's great to increase the responsibility early so you have much better, just experience going on. Beautifully aged 2. What does 2 mean, hun? There we go. Thank you, guys. Okay, very good. I'm glad you can still hear me. I'm not too sure what happened with my camera. Let me try. It's definitely heating up. Like, dang, this poor camera. Might need to give it a rest. I think it's just... Let me see if I can try to turn it back on. Yeah, no, this thing is totally dead. All right, so we're going to be without visual, unfortunately. Going to be without visual, but that's okay. Let me go ahead and turn this off. I'll deactivate it, see if you guys... If we miss that, if I can get rid of my frozen face, that weird-looking thumbnail that I have on the screen... That's okay, beautifully aged. I knew what you meant. All right, there we go. I see the thumbnail went away, my weird face plastered on the side of the screen. Okay, there we go. So we have a new little snippet of the radar. Let's track this out now. Let's see. So there's our right turn. We're headed north, north-northwest. And yeah, so it looks like you guys in Guadeloupe are going to get a close shave by this system. If we just keep tracking it off and doing what it's currently doing, it's going to move off in this general direction there. So again, Barbuda, Antigua, watch. Definitely Barbuda. Barbuda for sure. My Giga Chad status. What does that even mean, Anzion? What is I've seen Giga Chad memes and whatnot, but I never took the time to, I guess, Urban Dictionary what that means. Giga Chad. Extreme Weather Chaser Theo. I have you on Instagram, buddy. Welcome in. Thanks for watching. Yellows 1, thank you. All right, so we still have audio in the stream. That's good. I feel bad that you can't see me anymore, but we're still here. We're still kicking. We're an hour and 30 minutes in. Some light rain has started here in West Guadeloupe. That makes sense. You guys are definitely seeing some increased banding with this system. We're going to stay on a little bit longer. I'm liking what I'm seeing on radar, though. I'm liking what I'm seeing. We're definitely seeing a little bit of intensification with this storm. Let's go back to the satellite image and see what it looks like on there. Let me refresh, see if we have any new radar or satellite input. Yeah, so it's definitely structured very well. Definitely very well structured. You can see that we have a clear delineation between this extension here. This is an extension of the storm right there. That's not entirely 100% Tammy funneling in like that. That's going to be a lot more confluent airflow, as well as just the energy being pulled in by Tammy trying to strengthen down. The storm itself is parked right up in through here. This is our hurricane right there, guys. So very compact storm. That's a good thing. We have that going for us. The storm being so tiny means it is going to intensify, but that also means it's going to be very small. The wind field is going to be very strong. Strong and compact, I should say. Malachi, I have to go for a bit by hazardous. I'm coming back at 10:35. All right, no worries. We should still be here in the next 5 minutes. Just joined and saw you were live. I saw that the ensembles were showing a potential for Tammy to curve back to the west after getting near Bermuda. Does that forecast line up with what you're seeing? Boss Lady Mama, welcome in. Thank you for joining. I knew I had a few folks from Bermuda watching. I definitely think that Bermuda needs to start monitoring. Not going to say we got to prep, not going to say that we have to get ready or anything like that, but Bermuda should definitely be watching, especially after what I saw last night on a lot of our model data. I posted it up on Instagram that the Icon had it coming close. Now Icon at 0Z has it making a beeline for Florida for some reason. I don't think it's going to make it all the way over there, but as a matter of fact, from there to there, you can see a weakening trend pretty substantially as it moves due west at that point, riding the southern side of this high pressure to its north. But I know the Canadian model last night at 0Z is definitely getting very close to Bermuda. You see it jog to the west, and you guys get the outer banks of it as it moves to your east. And then, I take the GFS with a very, very big old grain of salt because it did very terrible with this system. But you can't discredit that the GFS has it moving into you guys and then trying to back build to the east and retrograde into the island as well. So I'm not saying anything official, but Boss Lady Mama, Bermuda definitely needs to watch. That's for sure. Yes, I'm in Florida. Okay, there we go. So if you're in Florida, I mean, we're still dodging the bullet. I don't think it's going to make it that far to the west before weakening. No rain in Beaufort, Guadeloupe. We are on the Sud. I'm assuming you mean sun, Augustina. Helena Nazario, do you think we will see a part will be breaking off and go west? It's possible. It's definitely possible with that big old dome of cold air that's going to come out of the come down from the north into the south and try to help suppress and almost absorb Tammy. We could see some moisture slung at us. Can this move towards Florida? It looks like some of the models want it to try, but I don't think it's going to make it here. I don't think it's going to make it to Florida. Welcome back, Malachi. Good morning, Janelle. I like how Tammy is like, okay, yes, I'm going to go attack Bermuda. No, I think I'll take Florida. No, I'll take North Carolina. Okay, I'll take Bermuda. Yeah, Void 3. It's doing some weird stuff. Is St. Lucia out now? Sandra, what do you mean? Is St. Lucia out? No, Augustina means south. No rain in Beaufort. We are on this. Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. On the Sud, south. Okay. Yeah, no, you're definitely in the southern portion of it. So intermittent pieces of rain and band activity is going to be moving through there. Let's go back to the radar real quick. I'll get off of this static model image. We can refresh the radar, and I'll kind of give it a bit of a breakdown real fast. So St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenadines to the south. Here is Barbados. Where is it? There's Barbados. And then we have Martinique, Dominica. You guys, where I have my X's, where the ink is on the page right now, if you guys can see it, you're in the clear. Right now, from here on in, you're going to have to watch as those bands rotate on the backside of this storm and as it moves to the north. Once it can park itself in between the likes of Guadeloupe, Antigua, Barbuda, once it gets due north of your location, that's when the weather is definitely going to hit the fan, and you're going to see all this training precip. You see this right here, guys? All that training precip at the very tail end of this radar loop. That's what's going to really amp up your bad conditions. Barbados is seeing it right now. You have another big band of thunderstorms coming through any moment now, if not already hitting you. And it looks like the activity is starting to pull in towards St. Lucia, Martinique. You guys are going to start seeing conditions go at least slightly downhill as the rain starts to pick up. Anyone saw that thing last night? 40% to form is like off the coast of Mexico. Also kind of, Void, Miss Leah here in the chat also mentioned that to me. I saw that she had mentioned 40% chance overnight, but from what I saw recently, they've backed down on it again. They suddenly decided to backpedal on that. Yeah, as of 8 a.m. this morning, they're 10, 20%, unless you're talking Eastern Pacific. There is another disturbance out there in the East Pac, 70, 80% chance. Norma is weakening, slowly coming back down. She's a Cat 2, moving towards Baja, California. And then we have Tammy out here. We should hopefully be getting a new update very soon. St. Kitts and Nevis are definitely going to have to watch, but I think this is going to be a east event for you guys. You're going to be on the west side of the storm. I don't see it jogging that far to the west. We'll have to wait and see, of course, and we'll have to see, but, you know, it's possible you'll see some direct impacts, but nothing too catastrophic, at least based on its current course and the current forecast from National Hurricane Center. The thunderstorm started in Barbados. I heard thunder right now. That makes sense. There's a big band of bad weather coming into your area right now. I'm talking about the one with 1020 closer to Tammy. Yeah. So I guess last night this was elevated all of a sudden, but now they bumped it back down. And on satellite, it really doesn't look that bad. If we come out and look at the Caribbean to its entirety right here, we probably won't be able to see Tammy too well. We can kind of still see her, but looking down here, I mean, it doesn't look that bad. I think the reason they have such a low chance of it developing is because it's just entrenched between Central America and it's moving west. So I don't think they're giving it too strong of a lifeline to form up. Looks like for the Cayman Islands and Jamaica, as a matter of fact, now that we're here on this loop, there's some leftover frontal energy right here that's spinning into your area. So Jamaica, Cayman Islands could see your rain chances go up later today into tomorrow. That frontal feature, the tail end appendage of that front is coming through. This is, here we go, guys. Here we go. So this is what I like so much about this true visible shot of these storms. The true color infrared, or the true color visible satellite. Because if you look, it definitely does not seem like it's going to jog to the west. I think we're going to have a close call in Guadeloupe. We're going to possibly see major impacts in Antigua and especially Barbuda. But let me zoom out a little bit so we can see the whole thing. If you guys watch as I play this loop, and I'm going to do some streamlines, you watch as the loop plays out, you can clearly see how we transition from easterly to southerly winds right up in through here. You can see that high pressure out in the Atlantic is still spinning very good. So we have all this low to mid-level wind flow prevailing out of the east, and then it comes out of the south, and then we have all this getting squeezed up with that frontal system and trough as well. This is why I like looking zoomed out as opposed to looking very, very close to the storm, because now looking at the general wind flow, you could almost create your own forecast and track this off like this with the wind flow. So, and as this continues to propagate to the east, this yellow arrow is going to try to go more and more north. So it's definitely safe to say that whoever has missed the main center of the storm is definitely going to miss a direct hit from this system. Here comes that other tropical wave on the right-hand side of the screen. This is coming in fast. This is definitely going to be there in another couple days. Had really bad thunder and lightning last night, but now it's really bad thunderstorms. Yeah, no, there's really potent inflow and thunderstorm activity working its way through there right now. You can see it even on this satellite image. All that wraparound backside inflow to the core of the storm is definitely moving in. So brace yourselves. Trinidad and Tobago look like you're in for another potential round of some isolated activity down that far to the south. There's some stuff flaring up on satellite. We're seeing a little bit of expansion to the northwest side of it. So Guadeloupe, Marie Gallant Island, as well as Antigua Barbuda, you're definitely starting to see some of the outer feeder bands of this as well. Zenville, take it easy. Thank you so much for joining in. It never said, did it say 40%? People are telling me it said 40%. I'm still seeing 10, 20%. I mean, I guess we'll see. I don't know. Good day, all. I'm on the island of St. Martin waiting for Tammy to pass. Yep, that's all you can do right now is just kind of wait. What is that system behind Tammy? Tony Tuckett, good question. That is another tropical wave. We're watching these bad boys propagate to the west, and it's going to be a question of whether or not they can develop. Because if it does make it into the Caribbean, we're going to see a bit more of a favorable setup for those things to try to get going. I'm just wondering how these hurricanes don't run out of water because, I mean, the ocean can't evaporate if it's covered by clouds, right? No, and, it's not necessarily the water itself that strengthens these storms. That's kind of the reason why we need so much thunderstorm activity with these hurricanes, because it's the thunderstorms and the transference between the ocean hot water as well as the thunderstorm activity that helps create that cycling of energy in a hurricane. Yeah, Jacob, welcome in. It's definitely a very good-looking wave, very strong-looking wave, a lot of thunderstorm activity with it. Horse Girl Forever, is Orlando going to be hit? Doesn't look like it right now. I'm giving us maybe like a 1% chance that we'll see something, especially from Tammy. We're going to have to wait and see what happens down the road with those tropical waves out there in the tropical Atlantic, the main development region still. Yes, it is. It's the moisture. It's the exchange of heat between the moisture and the ocean itself. Jesse, Antigua is going to be the big one. Antigua and Barbuda are the ones that really need to keep a close eye out as this track continues, or as this path continues to unfold. You guys are under the gun for the worst of the impacts, especially as the core of the storm transitions in your general area. I'm going to switch over real quick because I see the time. It's 10:41. Let's see if we have an update from National Hurricane Center yet. Nothing just yet. I'm going to go over to weathermodels.com and see if we have German model data coming in just yet. We should be starting to see it populate, I believe. Let's go down to 10-meter wind. No, nothing yet. It's not coming in just yet. 6E has it stalling out. 6E looks like it still wants it to move west all of a sudden. Just letting you guys know right now. So it might pass to the south of Bermuda and start headed west towards the southeast. That's what the icon looks like. It's very feverishly anticipating. It's been trending like that for over 24 hours now, since I think late night, day before yesterday, is when the model started to try to move it west. And honestly, I definitely give the credit where it's due. The icon has done phenomenally with this system. The Euro has had its moments. The Euro is doing good now, but the icon has had very good consistency with this tropical system since it first showed itself in the main development region. It's the Mahai Zen. What can we expect in Antigua? Thanks for the updates. Roddy, very welcome, very welcome. I'm unfortunately going to have to step back from the live stream very soon. I have a lot of things to do today. I have homework assignments as well that I need to be doing too that I got to get started with here shortly, and then other familial plans for the rest of the day. You'll still get a full Weather Center segment, or what I may do is, instead of doing a Weather Center segment, I may just go live later on tonight and talk about what's happening between 6 and 8 p.m., depending on when we're all home and whatnot. As a matter of fact, yeah, I want to do a full Weather Center segment. Maybe I'll do one that's very brief, but I think I may just go live again tonight or something and try to figure that out, let my camera charge, and see if we can jump back on here. What time do you think we'll have it here? Because it's just a little gusty right now. Jesse, for Antigua, it's looking like a mid-afternoon, early evening time event. It's still off to the south and barely off to the east of Guadeloupe right now as we speak. And you guys are up here, so it looks like it could be another 6 to 8 hours before it makes its way all the way up to your neck of the woods. It's right here. It's tracking off in this general direction, so we still have a few hours to get ahead of it. From Dominica south, though, into the Windward Islands, you guys are looking good. You're going to have very strong tropical storm bands going through, but you're not going to see anything hurricane-wise at this point, which is good news. That makes sense that you guys are seeing rain out there in Guadeloupe. You're getting closer to it, or the storm, I should say, is getting closer to you. You have some very light bands moving through. Oh, gosh, Sharon. Okay, so we have some damage, some structural damage out there. Barbados is seeing lots of rain, thunder, and lightning. The bands are going to be the bad piece of it. The bands are going to be the bad piece of it. I was trying to say the same thing with Tropical Storm Philippe a couple weeks ago. It's the backside of these storms for you guys. When they track to the north, it's the backside that's going to get lethal, because you're going to have intermittent instances of really bad weather, and then it's going to clear up, and then really bad weather, and then it's going to clear up. Nazario, well, I have an update for Barbados. A lot of cloud cover and thunder and not a lot of wind. So we're seeing conflicting reports in Barbados between Malachi and Sharon. Sharon is in a portion of Barbados where they're seeing lots of rain, bad thunder and lightning, and trees are coming down. Malachi says you're under a lot of cloud cover and thunder, but not a lot of wind. So it goes to show very, very isolated instances of bad weather associated with these feeder bands. The feeder bands like... I believe Devil Charger or one of our folks up there had mentioned are definitely underappreciated or underemphasized. Thank you for your update. Appreciate it. We'll look forward for tonight. Absolutely, guys. Definitely. Maria Torres, I wish I could translate that. You know what? As a matter of fact, I'm not going to be silly right now. Let me go ahead and let's see here. Move my mic out of the way just a little bit. Let's see. En la zona de las Antilles. Increase the warnings. The operator warning has already been issued in small landscapes in the waters of the Atlantic. They have already entered, but they need to allow the warning of strong winds in the area of the Antilles. Yes, I agree. Maria Torres, I definitely agree with you. We definitely need our warnings issued, and they need to be out for sure. They need to stay out for an extended period of time as this rolls through. Not because of the storm itself, but the feeder banding that's on the backside of it. You guys could see intermittent cases of tropical storm conditions, just like Sharon was mentioning down there in Barbados right now. It looks like we may have gotten another radar update. Let's continue to try to extrapolate this out and try to track it. So here it is there. Here it is there. Moving north, moving north. There's our center here. So yeah, if it keeps tracking on its current course like so, and it doesn't move any further to the west, it's going to be Barbuda who needs to shelter in place big time. It looks to try to miss Guadeloupe just barely to the east. You're going to see it skirt the coastline of the east island of Guadeloupe at this time. And then Antigua and Barbuda are going to have to watch closely. I do believe we might see a bit more of a westward angle. It might try to spin to the west just a little bit, unless that steering current that we highlighted on the satellite has a good hold of it. Shoot, you beat me to the translation. I appreciate it, though, Dark Earth. Thank you. Hello, how does it look for St. Lucia? St. Lucia's looking pretty good in terms of taking a bad hit from the storm. You're going to have a lot of feeder band activity over the next 12 to 18 hours. It's going to be an extended event with those feeder bands working their way through that area. But in terms of a direct hit in hurricane force conditions, Sarah, you guys are looking really good right now. That storm is well off to your north. That wind field is going with it. I'm enjoying the weather in Barbados. That's pretty good. D Big Show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what I'll probably do is stay on for another 10 more minutes. Let's see if we can get an 11 a.m. update and a new potential track for Tammy, and then I'm going to jump off just so I can conserve battery life, conserve energy if I'm going to jump back in here for another live stream later on tonight and still do a full Weather Center segment. So if you'll excuse me, in about 10 more minutes, we're going to hop off of this. I know I have a lot of folks watching right now, and I thank you very much for your continued viewage, but I definitely want to make sure that my camera's back ready to rock for later tonight, as well as my segment that should be releasing. The segment itself, for those of you in here, it might be a little late. I'm going to tell you right now, depending on what this afternoon looks like for me, unless I do a very quick update video on Hurricane Tammy specifically, the full-fledged segment might be late. So it might be more of a 6:30, 7 o'clock release time. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if I can conjure something up once we get all of our 12Z data in and kind of relay that in a full-fledged video, and then try to schedule a time where I can jump back on a live stream and continue with these live updates. Dominica, is we still in a hurricane watch or a storm watch? Mona, let me go back over to the interactive map and zoom in on you guys, because I think there are still some WWAs out for your area. Yeah, it looks like you guys have a hurricane watch and a tropical storm warning still in effect. Nothing else from there. They still have the tropical storm watch for Martinique. I would personally say that that could maybe go out. I mean, I never have a problem with extending watches. During my time in Air Force weather, I would have the watch out for a long time if I saw the likelihood of conditions coming back up. At this point, I would personally say that the tropical storm warning in Dominica is probably a good idea. I would probably drop the hurricane watch and downgrade it to a tropical storm watch at this point, just based on its current trajectory and the fact that it's already up to your north. It's not going to wrap back around. Can there be rain undetectable in the radar zone? I mean, can the rain be light enough to go undetected? Not necessarily, because the radar itself does not pick up on rain. It actually picks up on what are called scatterers, or particles that the radar beam bounces into and then bounces back to the radar dish receiving it. So that's what you see. That's why you get things like ground clutter from higher terrain features, from tall buildings. You can sometimes see hordes of insects and flocks of birds and smoke on the radar. You can see tornado damage and debris with tornadic activity. So it's very hard for the radar to miss actual precip. I don't have the information pulled up in front of me, but we used to have a Air Force manual that we referenced with different thresholds for radar reflectivity to help forecasters determine if we're seeing liquid precip, if we're seeing frozen precip, if we're seeing hail, snow, sleet, grapple, if it's just ground clutter, if it's just bugs or something nasty in the radar, things like that. So I definitely think it's too difficult for a radar to miss rainfall. Antigua and Barbuda are definitely looking like we can get the closest impacts, that's for sure, Avril. That time is good, Barbados. Because I said Guadeloupe is getting some rain right now, even though it's not on the radar. No, it's definitely on the radar. If we go back to that radar image, it's definitely there. You can see it right there. There's some very intermittent shower activity working its way through. You watch it as it tracks to the north. Watch all this stuff coming out of the east. You can see it right there. There's a little bit of feeder banding going through, and we have all this very, very interspersed shower activity shooting off to the east. Hello from us. My prayers care with my family and friends in Antigua in the Leeward Islands. Amen, I say to that. Thank you very much. All right, 10:52. Let's go back to National Hurricane Center, see if we have our update yet. There it is. Okay, yep, so we've seen a little bit more strengthening. 988 millibar low, 85 mile an hour winds. They haven't really adjusted the track too much. It seems like the track is holding at this time. Yeah, they still they haven't done anything with the track. It still looks exactly the same. They're thinking that it's going to take more of a west-northwest path, though, putting the eye of the storm into eastern Guadeloupe. I don't know if that's what's actually going to happen. It looks like on radar right now, that core of the storm is going to track just barely to you guys' east. That's how it's looking based on what I see on radar. It could wobble. It could definitely still wobble. So Guadeloupe, don't let your guard down. Like I mentioned, Dominica and south. If you're south of the island of Dominica, definitely you can kind of bring the boxing gloves down a little bit. You don't have to be in your high guard position. You're going to have some very ferocious feeder bands going through, but a direct hit and hurricane-like conditions are dropping as we speak. I'm already starting to feel sore from my workout. Wow. No tropical storm warnings anymore for Barbados, but I checked their weather site and it says rainfall and thunderstorm warnings. That makes sense. Extreme weather chaser. I absolutely agree with that. Definitely got to have something out. So I'm glad that they at least have a warning in place, because you guys are on like the southernmost extent of this storm now. All right, Brooke, no worries. I'm going to be right behind you, truthfully, to tell you the truth. I have a lot that I have to get going with as well very soon. And now that we have the 11 a.m. update, we're probably going to go ahead and call it quits. And just so you guys are tracking, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, you guys are still under the gun to see some potent impacts from this storm, especially Antigua and Barbuda. It looks like it's speeding up a bit. Yeah, no, I definitely agree, Ethan. It looks like on radar especially, we've seen it start to pick up a little bit of steam. It's starting to move a little bit faster, and that's a good thing. Which also means it could arrive a little bit earlier than what National Hurricane Center is predicting. See, you know, looking at the center and the way it's tracking right now, it doesn't look like it's going to make landfall in Guadeloupe. You're going to get scraped by it, but here it is, here it comes, and it's moving like this. I mean, even if it continues to move west, unless it takes another right turn almost at this point, it's not going to landfall in Guadeloupe. It looks like it's going to move just barely. Like I'm talking a fraction to the east of you guys. And Antigua and Barbuda are the main areas we really need to keep a watch out for. No, it's because it's in between steering currents, Avril Maraha. It's in between different pieces of the weather pattern trying to steer it. The trough over the United States right now is trying to scoop her up and get her going, and it's a struggle to do so because of the big high pressure off to its northeast. I'm really enjoying this live comprehensive reporting. Great job. Hoping this is not another Philippe. You know, it's going to be a back and forth give or take with this system, I believe. So are we going to get rain in the north of Dominica? Absolutely, yes. It's just not there yet. You guys are kind of in like a dry spot with this storm right now, in between the feeder banding and the main training area of south side thunderstorms. For sure, it's moving more to west. You know, it's not moving that far to the west. It's definitely doing a bit of a westward shift. Just a bit. It's not very much, though. Here's the center, here's the center, here's the center, here's the center. So, I mean, if you keep tracking it out like so, it's moving towards Antigua and Barbuda for sure. Definitely moving in that general area. Like I said, the east side, the east island of Guadeloupe is going to get that scrape from the eye wall. And it doesn't look like it's a very dense eye wall structure. So the impacts are not going to be too hellacious. But we'll have to wait and see. That's why I want to update you guys later. The Desirade is still going to get a straight hit. Okay, bye. See you at live stream tonight. I really appreciate all you do again. Malachi, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you. Shucks, guys. I feel bad. We're at about 400 viewers right now. But I do need to start dipping out here in a moment. I have so many things to do today, and I want to make sure I can return and come back to our continuous coverage later. So if you have any additional questions, please reach out to me on Instagram or leave a comment either in my video from yesterday, the live stream from yesterday, or this current live stream. Desirade is a small island to the east of Maine Guadeloupe Island. I can see it, okay. Like Marie Gallant, I can see it right here. Looks like they're going to see the eye. It looks like that could definitely take a direct hit. I agree with you on that one. Here's Marie Gallant. Here's Guadeloupe, the east and west islands there. Definitely think that Desirade, if I'm saying that right, it could definitely see a direct rollover of that eye feature. Thankfully, it does not look like that eye wall is really holding a lot of core activity. There's a little bit on the north and northeast side of it, but it's not a very, very potent eye wall structure. Still seeing some gradual intensification from it now that we've gone full symmetrical, and I do think that that's going to be the case as we go forward in time. Ethan's Life, we'll see you later. Catherine Isles, thank you for always keeping us updated. You're very welcome. Ethan's Life, signing out. Yeah, guys, all right, we're hitting the 2-hour mark. We hit another 2-hour live stream, new record for us here on Weather Center. I will be back later. You're going to get a full segment today, full video update. I can guarantee that, and I'm going to try my best to figure out when a good time to schedule another live stream tonight will be for you guys. Have a great day, everyone. Please stay safe. Everyone that will be affected, I'm going to sign up before my cat's mutiny. I feel that, Dark Earth, definitely. I'm surprised Willow isn't in here making a fuss. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 11 o'clock a.m. We're going to go ahead and cut the live stream. So what time will be getting rain in Dominica? In the next couple of hours, the next 3 to 5 hours, I would say, we're going to start seeing some more feeder band work, or some more feeder bands work their way up. You can see it here on the back side of the storm now. They're starting to lift. Martinique is next. St. Lucia, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, and Barbados are definitely seeing those feeder bands working through right now. They're going to be intermittent conditions, but we have this really nice line propagating to the north right in through here. So another 3 to 5 hours, Dominica is going to start seeing stuff happen. And then we really got to see exactly what this eye is going to do. Sharon, thank you very much, dear. I know you've got stuff to do. I'll wait to get your notifications tonight, nor to read. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a great day. Thanks for the information on Tammy. Avril, very, very welcome. Let's let this radar loop play out one more time, and then we're going to cut it so that way my camera can charge and I can get back to you guys later on. So, yeah, it looks like it's trying. It's trying to move a little bit more west, but it looks like, as you'd mentioned previously, Desirade is going to take a direct hit, that smaller island featured just to the east of Guadalupe. I don't think Guadalupe is going to take a direct impact. You're going to get scraped along the east beach side. And then Antigua, Barbuda, you guys are next after that. Have a great day. See you later on. Notifications are on. Yes, guys, turn your notifications on. We will be back with you momentarily. We'll see you later on today as we continue to watch exactly what Tammy does and what the rest of the tropics do. Later on today and tonight, if I can go live again and get a full segment out to you guys, we're also going to digest what our 12Z data looks like in terms of those other tropical waves in that cold pocket coming down. So lots to watch, lots to talk about, lots in the future still. We're getting to the worst of Tammy right now, but we also have some other things on the horizon we need to watch out for, guys. So please, please, please make sure your notification bell is on so we can meet back here later this evening and continue to discuss exactly what's unfolding, not only here with Hurricane Tammy, but the rest of the tropical Atlantic. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Any additional questions or comments, please leave them in the comments or attack my Instagram, Wxcenter_Nazario. I'm happy to get back to each and every one of you as best as I can throughout the day, and we'll see you later on. I can't thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for your continued support and for tuning in for our live streams on a recurring basis, guys. We'll see you very soon, okay? This is Weather Center Nazario, signing out.